You can ignore that noise. That's my DVD player. I'm about to do some work in the trailer. This right here, this is a 6-pin 3-position switch, rocker switch. You could also use a toggle switch, but I think the rocker switch will look better, and it'll tie in with that switch right there. It'll look, you know what, I should have got the same. That's what I'm gonna do. Eventually, I'm gonna upgrade that switch to one like this style. Not this exact same switch. But this switch right here, it's a 6-pin, 3-position, single pole switch. And what I'm gonna do is, this is going to be my transfer switch. Because right now, when I want to switch from line or shore power, which is this black cord, to my inverter, I gotta unplug the load from here and plug it into the inverter. With this, one of the positions, like right now it's off, so one of the positions, I'll let that be line. So this will be shore power, off, and that'll be the inverter. That way I don't have to unplug anything. And I'll tie this, because this is for charging the battery and supplying DC power. I'll tie that into line. So when it's in line, in the line position, it'll automatically send the line power, of course, to the load and to that. And then when you switch to inverter, it'll automatically, of course, cut the line, and it'll cut that also. That way you don't have to mess with this at all. All right, here we go. These are the wires for my transfer switch. But it's not really a transfer switch, but I'm going to use it as one. This thing is rated for, what is it? 227 volts AC at 10 amps and 125 volts AC at 20 amps. And I'm going to be pulling 15 amps. So I have a 5 amp buffer. Same thing with the wiring. I'm using 12 gauge, which is rated for 20 amps, but I'm going to be pulling 15. So again, I have a little buffer right there. But this is what up here looks like. These insulated female terminals. And then you have these. This is where it comes down to 3. 1, 2, 3. So this one is the load. This is hardwired. That's the load. And this goes to the inverter. Let me pull the slack in. Alright, that's about right. This one goes to the inverter. Like that. And then this one goes to shore power. But we're not going to plug that in until we put these on. All the greens, you just twist the greens together. So basically what you want is your load is going to be in the center. See, you got 3. 1, 2, 3. Load, line, and inverter. Load is going to be in the center. We're going to put line on the bottom. That way when we put the switch up, it's on line. And when we put the switch down, it's going to be on inverter. The inverter going on the top. Remember, it's the opposite. So when you rock the switch, that's pushing. It's making contact. I'm trying to remember the doggone thing. It's making contact to the top. When you push like this, it's making contact on the bottom. It's sliding the little bar up, back and forth, or up and down. And of course, the load is in the center. And when this is in a neutral position, it's off. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep the colors on the same side. So black, 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 white, white, white. All right, everything is plugged in. Switch is off. All the whites on one side, all the blacks on the next, on the next side, on the other side. Greens are twisted together. The grounds. That's plugged into show power. That's plugged into the inverter. The load is hardwired. Breakers are on. If everything is wired correctly, when I turn to shore power, which I think is it pushing the switch up, which would be the center and the bottom, that light should come on. Yep, there it is. I don't know if you can see it, but the light is on. See it? Turn this off. Now you can see it easier. And if I go to center, the light should go off. If I go center, that light should go off. It's an adapter, so, and there it goes, it faded. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna turn on the inverter. The inverter is on, right? So we got the inverter, shore power. So everything is sending power to this switch. So if I go up, back to, again, shore power is up. That light should come on. That means the outlet is good. And it's on. Center, everything should be off. It's gonna fade away. And when I go down, since the inverter is plugged in, I should get power again. The green should come on. Down, and there it is. So it's working. So we good, man. But that's how to make an easy transfer switch. All right, you need a 6-pin, 3-position switch. It could be a rocker switch or a toggle switch. I like the rockers because they look cleaner. And of course, you need the wiring. You need the female terminals. And just a general idea of how it's gonna work. All right, you need to pick either the very top or the very bottom for your line or your inverter. So the line or the inverter is on the top, the line or the inverter is on the bottom, and the load is going to be in the center. And you select which one you want with this. All right. I'm going to turn off my inverter. Oh, and the good thing is, if before I turn off the inverter, if I'm not on shore power, I'm gonna simulate unplugging outside, unplugging shore power by unplugging this, right? So I accidentally hit the doggone stop button, but see, my power supply is charging the battery, okay? So I'm gonna unplug this to simulate unplugging from shore power. Okay, so I'm unplugged from shore power, right? No more of that. So I got the inverter going. So when I switch to inverter, that should not come on. The way everything is wired up, that should not come on. Okay, the power supply should only come on and be charging the battery when I'm on shore power. So I'm going to switch to inverter, which I think it was down. So that's on. And nothing on the power supply. That's correct. That's the way it's supposed to be. All right, so right now the only thing I got is, I don't know if you can see it. You see my battery right there? I mean my solar charge controller showing the voltage, 13.3 volts. And nothing is sending power to the battery. The inverter is drawing power from the battery right now and turning it into house current. See? I could actually, I think I could turn my TV on. Yep, TV's on. And it's all independent. It's all, so the TV The DVD player is actually on also, well not on, but it's plugged in. You can see the red light. All in the battery. So I'm gonna turn that back off. And then I'm gonna switch back. Well, let me plug it back in first. See, as soon as I plugged it in, even though I'm on an inverter right now, as soon as I got shore power, the power supply kicked back on and it's charging the battery. See, it's at 14.6, 14.7 volts. So as soon as you have shore power, this is automatic. You don't even have to think about it. It has nothing to do with the switch. As soon as you get shore power, you get the power supply is charging the battery and sending your 12 volt power to the lights and the fan. So it sounds complicated, but it's really not. So now I'm gonna go to neutral on this, so that light should go out, and there it goes. I'm gonna turn off the inverter because I don't need it right now. Inverter's off, and I'm gonna switch to line or show power, and that light's gonna come back on. There it is. So I'm back in show power. The power supply is charging the battery and sending 12 volts to the light and fan. My little space heater is going, and that's it. Other than making a nice little vanity plate thing here, so I can push this back in the wall, make it look nice and neat, I'm done. Alright, this is piece of a stud, piece of that right there. What I did, I cut it out. Well, I cut a piece off, shaped it so that this can fit in there. Hold it up again. Cut it off, shaped it, beveled the edges so that this can fit in there. Okay. So I'm going to pull the wires through, hook it up, and attach it to the wall. And there it is. That's a little box that I made for it out of a stud they use for framing homes, well, interior walls. That's the transfer switch. And everything is hooked up. I'm gonna shorten a lot of these wires in here just to clean it up. But that's it. That little heater works good in here, much better than that kerosene heater. The kerosene heater is just too much. It's way too big. But I got a lot of tools to clean up, well, to put away, and some cleaning to do. But with the transfer switch, no more having to unplug stuff and fiddle with that stuff. When we want to go from shore power to the inverter, just rock it down.